You're listening to an Airwave Media Podcast.
Hello there, future friends. I'm Keena, the host of the Historical AF Podcast. Katie and Nathan wanted me to let you know that this show contains a plethora of colorful language. In other words, they cuss a lot, guys. Like a ton. I wasn't supposed to cuss. Anywho, if cursing isn't your jam, then this may not be the podcast for you. But if you're down for some F-bombs and you dig comedy history podcasts, then you're going to love this episode and you should head on over to my show. Historical AF is a boozy and lively foul-mouthed comedy podcast. We are a historian, that would be me, and some special guests delivering the funny, weird, spooky, and morbid historical nuggets you never knew you needed in your ear holes. Cheers, bitches!
Hi, this is Katie.
And this is Nathan.
And you're listening to Queen's Podcast, the show about badass women in history. Hey, Nathan, how are you?
Oh, glorious.
Glorious. That's what I like to hear.
Amazing.
Oh my gosh. Well, Nathan, are you excited for today's episode?
Yes and no. I'm excited I'm excited for the subject, but I'm quite frightened at how sloshed I might get from this awful drink that I made.
Okay, well, why don't we start with that? Let's talk about this cocktail. What's it called?
So it is called the Messalina. So that's our subject. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
But it is comprised of 2 shots of bourbon, a half a shot of chocolate liqueur, and then a shot, because I'm, a wuss, a shot of water. And then you shake it in your little martini shaker and pour into a martini glass. And it tastes terrible. It tastes like it looks motor oil.
It does look like motor oil, yeah.
If you are so fortunate to be part of the Patreon and got to see the Booze Clues, I literally just had to stop and smile because I almost gagged.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Well,
I drank it, I was like, what? This is awful.
But you know what? We're talking about somebody whose life has not gone down in history with the best reputation. Oh my gosh, Nathan! I wish you could have seen his face. Oh my goodness, that was.
Oh, it's terrible. I tried to cheers and just be like, I'm going to take my first sip of the fucking episode, and God, it's awful.
And it was Bad News Bears. Oh god.
Yeah, this reminds me of our Tigress for Sforza.
Oh god.
It was just terrible.
I'm sitting this one out. I'm just drinking water. Earlier in the day when I realized, I don't think I'm going to drink tonight. Maybe I do want to. Now seeing how much you are not enjoying that cocktail, I am glad that I didn't go and get the ingredients.
Proud you made life decisions. Unlike me, I made bad ones.
Just like Messalina.
So it's a messy drink.
Bring it all to messy Messalina. So before we get in to this dumpster fire of a story, let's do some Patreon shout-outs.
Yes, shout-outs to Valerie, Phoebe, Sarah, Jordan, Louise, Elizabeth, and Pamela.
Thank you, and thank you to all of our supporters at every level, as well as anyone that listens to the show. We love ya, bitches. So,
yes.
Note, while not totally necessary, if you want to go back and listen to the Agrippina the Younger episodes before listening to this, or listen to it maybe like right after, that might be just a good refresher to you or a good continuation of the story.
Yeah, if you're not good with ancient Rome,
yeah,
you might want to go listen back to that one.
They've got a lot of the same players, a lot of the same themes.
Mm-hmm.
So might be good for you.
Another note, in that series, we called Messalina Messy Messalina, and we have also just kind of
we've already done it, yeah,
as well, because history has painted her to be messy as hell. But I do want us to kind of note that the historians in this time frame, and we've talked about it in the Boudica episode and the Agrippina episodes,
Cleopatra,
They are the dickiest of the bag of
They
dicks.
don't care for women very much, do they?
No, women get a bad rep. And
you sexist historians? You don't say.
I'm calling 911. Katie can't breathe. Oh my god. No, like she did not deserve quite the history that
probably
they've given her.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah. So
possibly
take a lot of this story with a big ol' dump truck of salt.
Okay.
Just all the salt. Yes. Yes. So that being said, let's get into it.
She was born Valeria Messalina in Rome on January 25th, either 17 or 20 AD. So that makes her an Aquarius.
Yes.
We'd be a good match. We'd be a good match.
Yes. We don't know the year, not because bag of dicks necessarily, but it's thought that she probably lied about her age at different times in her life to kind of suit the scenario. So
love this.
Look, yeah, whatever. Her and every person in Hollywood. Cool, yeah.
She was born into a pretty powerful family, but not like the tippity top of the nobility.
Yeah.
She was just like the top that's been filed down a little bit.
Yeah. She's like the cousins. She's like the cousins of the people at the top of the food chain. Yeah.
Not too shabby, right? Not too
Yeah.
shabby.
Dad was a Roman consul, which was the highest level of elected official that you could be in ancient Rome. But Dad kind of drops out of the records around 21 AD. So I think it's safe to assume that he died, but we don't have any scandal around it, so probably of natural causes?
Question mark. But he would have died really young.
Yeah.
So Messalina's mom, Domitia, was the great niece of Augustus, the first emperor of Rome. So if you listen to the Agrippina episode, we go at length to all of this.
It's a flex. It's a flex for her family. Yeah.
Yes. But since they weren't like direct descendants, they weren't quite as bougie as the people underneath Augustus. So.
Right. So her upbringing, we just really don't know anything, and we don't really have any good speculation. So let's just jump straight to her wedding day.
Bum bum ba bum 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 bum.
Marrying your cousin.
So before I say this next word, I'm going to try to take a sip of this god awful drink. But oh god, it's so bad.
I'm so glad I skipped out on this one, Nathan. You are not selling it at all.
So unlike my drink, refreshingly, Messalina was married sometime between the age of 18 and 21. So thank
God.
I know.
Because I think like Agrippina was married the first time when she was like 13, 14.
Yeah, and they were marrying like 50-year-old dudes.
Yeah. It was really common for like a 14-year-old girl to be married off to a 50-year-old dude. So thank God she was 18 at least when she was married off to a 50-year-old dude.
Sorry, I'm still like the drink on top of thinking about this makes me a little nauseous.
I don't love it. No.
So let's get to know the lucky groom. Who's Tiberius Claudius Caesar Augustus Germanicus. Oh my.
But he's simply known as Claudius in history.
Thank God.
Yes. It's a lot of names.
Could you imagine? Yeah, it'd be like, no, thank you.
Pick a name, buddy. Yeah. Now, Claudius is from the tippity top. The very, very good family. So this was a fucking jackpot for Messalina and her family.
Yeah.
Historically, she's been painted as a very ambitious woman. So if that's true, she probably wouldn't have cared that he was almost 50. She would have just been happy about like an upgrade in her status.
So you have to think also her age at the time. Since she's like 18, 21, at least she's a little more cognitive than a 14-year-old would be.
Yeah, there's a big difference in sexual maturity from 14 to 18. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, I mean, she's eventually thinking at the end of the day, this dude's probably just going to end up dying anyway, because it's Rome. It's Rome, and this is natural causes happening all the time.
Yeah.
50 is pretty old for that time. 60 is ancient. So
he's 48. He's not the picture of health to begin with. So you're right. She was probably just like, whatever, it's going to be a great status boost, and he's going to die, and I'm still going to have lots of years with his money. And
it's a win-win situation, except for Claudius, who's dead.
Who's dead, but he would have had a hot young wife before dying. But also, I mean, she probably would have always expected to marry a much older dude anyway. So
yeah, even though it's cringeworthy now, it was the norm. Still cringeworthy. Yeah, but it's the norm.
But it was the norm.
Here's what you need to know about Claudius, if this is the first time that you're knowing anything about Roman history.
Right.
So Claudius is from the upper crust of the Roman nobility. Like, think of the Kennedys in terms of royal families.
Ancient Rome Kennedys, absolutely.
Yeah. So except like Claudius would be that Kennedy that nobody really wants to talk about.
Yeah, everyone's like, let's not invite that Kennedy to dinner. He was not popular. He was his niece and nephew are Agrippina and Caligula. And Caligula is the emperor at the time of this marriage. So with all these major power players in this family, Claudius is like the bottom of the barrel. Like, he's super overlooked. He wasn't charming. He wasn't handsome. He wasn't witty. His own mother would like straight up always tell him that he was like a curse and that he was her least favorite kid.
Oh my God. Not everybody could be Beyonce.
Right?
Like, I'm sorry. Not everybody could be Beyonce.
His brother Germanicus, who is like Caligula's dad, his brother Germanicus basically was Beyonce. Like,
yeah, and it's like not everybody is exactly just like that. I'm very sorry.
Yeah, sorry, Mom. Like,
I'm not cute. Fuck you.
But why was she so harsh on him, Nathan?
Yeah, he did have some physical deformities. So apparently he had a bad leg and walked with a limp. Probably had a speech impediment, and he would randomly drool, which I do too, so I can totally relate.
I've never seen you randomly drool.
No, I know.
Okay.
He would have a really creepy laugh that would just burst out at the worst times, which I can relate.
He was said to maybe have like cerebral palsy. So, but back then, like, we obviously can't diagnose him or anything.
That makes me real sad.
I know. And back then, we've talked about this before, physical deformities, they equated to something's wrong with you.
Like your spirit.
Or you're cursed or something. And so even though he turns out to be like probably a pretty smart guy, the first half of his life up until his marriage to Messalina, people just thought he was a dud.
Oh my gosh, that's terrible because he's fully able to do what Anyway,
we'll get there. A lot of people, complete side note, and people let us know if you want to hear about this on Patreon maybe. A lot of people think that Tyrion from Game of Thrones is based on Claudius.
Makes sense. Yeah. But obviously Claudius is not taken seriously because they are not cool with being disabled back then.
Yeah.
Because they just assumed that he was stupid and slow, and he wasn't viewed as a threat to his nephew Caligula. So he's still rich, and in the eyes of Messalina, she really probably wouldn't have any complaints about any of this. She'd just be like, I don't know. But we really have no idea.
We have no idea what the nature of their marriage was, though the story goes that Claudius was obsessed with his new bride. She was his fourth wife. She was up there in his wives. She was young and beautiful, and she appears to at first been like really popular and really funny, and I guess just made him feel young again, like because he was 48 and it was the ancient world. So he's got a little pep in his step with his new little hot wife. Yeah.
Hey,
everybody's winning.
Nice. Yeah, soon after their wedding, Messalina even gets pregnant. So, yay! Healthy baby girl named Claudia Octavia, because they're not clever with names again. And then, bam, next year, new baby. So, baby on baby on baby. No,
just baby on baby. But still, we've talked about this before in ancient episodes where the birth rate for ancient Rome probably had something to do with, like, those hot baths that they took. But, like, families often didn't have a whole lot of kids. So 2 babies back to back that like survived infantness. Yes.
Infantness.
Infanthood.
Infancy.
Yes.
Infantness sounds like the stars of infantness. Anywho, that year they give birth to a baby boy named Tiberius Claudius Caesar, who would later be known as Britannicus. That's legit. Google it.
Yeah, like if you're looking him up, you're gonna look up the name Britannicus. So that's just what we're gonna call him, because that's usually what we do on this show. Just call the person like the name that they're famous by, because it's just confusing to be like, and then let's change the character's name halfway through the show.
Not fun.
Not fun.
But then also not fun. Caligula gets sick. Right. We talk about this more in the Agrippina the Younger episode, but big turning point. Mm-hmm. Caligula makes a full recovery, but he's never quite there.
Right.
Like, something's a little off.
If you know anything about Roman history, you probably know the name Caligula. And if you don't, well, let's teach you about Caligula. He's a dick. He's not a nice guy after he has this sickness. The end. No, but he had been like this shining star of the, like this, he was like the JFK Jr. of the JFK, the Kennedy ancient world family. But then he gets sick, and whenever he recovers, he's like had a mental break or something, and he turns into this... Crazy.
It's very similar to what we've done in the Anne Boleyn episode with Henry VIII.
It's very similar.
Jousting accident, something happens to them that's very traumatic physically, and then something happens to their brain. That something clicks and they're just now crazy. Yay!
Right. But now he's Roman Emperor with like unchecked power, and one of his greatest joys in the world as emperor is making his uncle's life a living hell, which is...
That's so sweet.
I know. Family activities.
He would openly mock him about his speech impediment. And of course, like, everyone in court's gonna laugh. Like, you're not gonna
stand up for Claudius and then get killed by Caligula for doing so, of course.
Starvation Island, no thank you.
No thank you. Starvation Island is way too real. Claudius wasn't the only person that Caligula was pissing off. So long story short, he got all kinds of murdered. Caligula got all kinds of murdered. So he'd be dead. Bye, Caligula. Like he's not long for this story.
Yeah. And when this happens, it was a really scary time for the immediate family. Like, for real, like, are they gonna come and murder me too?
Right.
I mean, that's not far-fetched.
No. And I couldn't find anything about, like, so when Caligula was assassinated, we think that Claudius maybe was in on it. But then when the assassins killed the Caligula's wife and 2-year-old daughter is when Claudius probably went, like, and ran home like, oh shit. Like, they're coming for all of us. So I couldn't find out where Messalina would have been at the time. I like to think that hopefully he gave her a heads up, like, hey, go to your mom's house for a few days or something.
Yeah, because otherwise that would be real scary.
Right? And Britannicus was only like a few weeks old. Like, she had a newborn. And so if she was home and these guards show up to her house, she could have been like, are they here to kill me and my kids? Because we're like next in line, like.
So after Caligula, aka Little Boots, was killed, he died.
Yep, he did.
Claudius ran. He kept running.
He was running.
And the assassination had killed Caligula's wife and kid, and that was actually not part of the plan.
Right.
So in, Claudius's eyes, he's thinking, oh my God, they're killing the whole imperial family.
They're coming
I'm
for
dead.
me. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be Romanovs. Yeah.
Yes,
very, very
yes,
much.
Yes.
So when the council came and found him to declare him emperor, the story goes that they found him shaking in his sandals behind a curtain. So, and again, we don't know where Messalina was. So I really wish that we knew what was going on. And he's convinced they're going to kill me, but instead they're like, you're emperor now. And it's like, didn't you just kill the last guy that was emperor? And they were like, yeah. And he was like, do I have a choice here? And they're like, absolutely not. And it's like, cool.
That's what would suck about being royalty. Because
Right?
it's just like, you might get killed, but that you got a fancy palace.
Cool. Cool. So yeah, if Messalina was there for that, she must have been terrified. Like, what the fuck is going on? But best case scenario, they didn't kill her. They made her empress.
Hey. It's not a bad plan. Not a bad plan. So
Not a bad turn of events at all.
Exactly. Now she's empress, and that's where all the fun begins.
New empress, who dis?
It's Messalina, bitch.
Bitch! Yes.
This is where she becomes messy. Messalina. Let's get real.
Yeah. So I think it's important to recognize that all of the sources that write about her are hugely biased. First of all, none of them were fucking there. None of them were alive during her lifetime.
We talked about that with Boudica, too. Like, in Boudica episode, it's like, centuries later, they're talking about this. Like, you weren't even there, bro. She doesn't even go here.
She doesn't even go here. So none of them were alive. One big source is Tacitus, and he hates Claudius. And he loves to write about Claudius as this guy who is just easily led by the last person he talked to, especially his wives. And
bag of dicks. History is bag of dicks.
Yes, he paints Claudius's wives as like these super manipulative women. So we can't really take him at his word.
Yeah, and then another source is a poet named Juvenal who wrote satire.
He was a satirist, yeah. Like poet or like source in quotes.
Yeah, and he right, and it's all political satire, so you can't take it seriously at the end of the day. He was also, again, born after her death, wrote the satire. I mean, it's like watching Diana the Musical and quoting it as absolute fact for references on Princess Diana's life.
Right.
No.
Right. I wish Diana the Musical had actually been satire, though. But yes, that's a very good comparison. This poem by Juvenal, we're going to go into a little bit later in more depth. But the fact that anyone takes that as a credible source is
bullshit.
Bad. Yeah, bullshit. And then there was Suetonius, and he's basically like a gossip columnist, I feel like. So, yeah, these aren't really credible sources, you know?
Yeah. Again, dumpster truck full of salt.
Dumpster truck full of salt. But that being said, let's get into the messy shit.
Oh, God. So 41 AD was a huge year for Messalina.
Huge.
She has her baby boy. She becomes empress. Her son becomes the heir presumptive. Because
baby boy, you been on my mind. Fulfill my reach and
see. So things are looking good.
Yeah.
And at the beginning of Claudius's reign, Messalina was a fucking hit. There were statues made in her honor. Everyone praised her, they're making a huge fuss about her.
Right.
She is the talk of the town. She's the empress. She has an infant baby boy. She's likely gonna be mom to the next emperor. So you might
she's killing it.
Friends with her. Yeah, killing it.
Yeah, she's doing great. So then the Senate voted to give her the title of Augusta. A huge oversimplification of what this means is it's just like the highest title a woman could get in ancient Rome. It's like almost next to being like a deity, kind of. So it was a big fucking deal. And I'm sure Messalina would have very much loved to been an Augusta. The only other woman who had ever received that title at this time was the wife of Augustus, so the OG empress, if you will.
So I think this reason the Senate wanted to do this was that Rome just went through fucking turmoil in the last few years with crazy Caligula.
Yeah.
So they wanted to paint this picture of like a happy imperial family. It's like a PR makeover for the Roman imperial family.
Yeah, let's put this empress up on a pedestal. Let's, really talk up this new emperor. Maybe he won't kill any of us. Yeah. Absolutely.
And Messalina has got to be pumped about this, you know? And then Claudius says no.
Wait, what?
What?
What? That, ouch! That's fucking...
I know.
Yeah, he vetoed it, but he did pass a vote to make his mother Augusta, even though she's already passed on. And it's like the mother that was like ashamed of you and called you names your whole life, but not the wife who has given you a son. And
at least seems like, you get along a little bit. I don't know.
This was a huge public insult to Messalina. Can you imagine how embarrassed you'd be?
I can't say as a spouse, but if I was somebody's spouse and they literally were like, no, I'm not giving you this title because only my mom deserves it, and your mom was a fucking asshole, I'd be like, hey, guess what? I'm not a fucking asshole, so give me the title.
It would have really, I feel like that would have really hurt me.
I agree.
Well, I can't really figure out his decision making here, besides that maybe he doesn't want to go too fast, too furious, too much at once. I don't, but maybe he was thinking, we have plenty of time in the future. But I think this was a huge turning point for Messalina and her opinion of her marriage,
Yeah, of course, because at this point, I'm sure the rumor mills are flying because we have the satire and the gossip columnists and all that shit happening. So the rumor mill's flying about all of this. And one of the rumors is, is she going to get divorced with,
Is Claudius going to leave her? Yeah.
Emperor, yeah.
Well, divorce was really common in ancient Rome.
That was not something that would be frowned upon because you did that for political reasons every day.
So I'm sure everyone around her is like, he's probably planning to divorce her. That's why he didn't make her Augusta. And she has to put up with it. Yeah.
And I think she gets a little desperate because she starts looking around for different allies, and in ancient Rome, there weren't a whole lot of ways for women to make allies if you've married somebody who's not at the tippy top of the food chain.
Right.
So you've only got a couple of ways to do that.
Right. And she's thinking if Claudius leaves me, I need to already have a second husband lined up. And he needs to be somebody powerful because I've had a taste of being at the top of the food chain and I'm not interested in going back down. So yeah, she probably started sleeping around a little bit.
Yeah, and that's a little bit of blackmail too, right?
Yeah.
You could use that as
totally
political fodder to stoke some flames and shit. But we're not saying, but we're just
I'm not saying, I'm just saying. Also, as ancient Rome, everyone was sleeping around with everybody.
I mean, we've all heard about the Roman orgies. I mean, Greek orgies too, but this is all the same time.
Sure,
same time.
Yeah, sure.
Same time.
I just think she was desperate to stay in power. And she thought, this is a way that I can make some, form some allies. And so she started sleeping around. But I don't think she was a nymphomaniac. We're going to talk about how she has been portrayed.
No, I don't think so either. I think Messalina was desperate to stay in power, but I don't think she was as bad as they put her. She was thinking about her future.
Right.
She was thinking if
her
he
son's
leaves
future.
me, what am I going to do? Like, if Claudius leaves me? So she's
Yeah.
got to look at some other options.
Exactly. So I think that this is a good place to take a quick break, and then we can come back and see what some of those options were. And we're back. So Messalina is looking to make some powerful friends and is possibly doing that through sex. But
Bow chicken, bow cow.
Ow! But it wasn't all sex. There was sex and there was scandal, but we'll get to it. But she did make she made one strategic friendship with a freedman named Narcissus.
So, wait. What's a freedman?
It's someone that had previously been enslaved that was now free.
Hence the term
Freedman. Yes.
Oh, I love how you do that to me.
I don't have any details on like where he was from, but in Rome they had lots of enslaved people from places like probably Britain and Germany, and they conquered all kinds of places. So
Claudius was notorious for not trusting the nobility.
Mm-hmm.
He would often consult with the most surprising type of people, aka his BFF and consultant Narcissus.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I think that's kind of cool. Cause he was like, y'all kill the nobility are the ones that have been making fun of me my whole life and
right.
that have killed my nephew. He's like, I think my nephew deserved to be killed, but now that I'm the one in power, I'm a little apprehensive.
It makes sense. If the whole thing with the politics in Rome is it's like families divorcing and weddings and things, like everybody's trying to backstab each other in a way as well. There's a lot of politics happening. So maybe getting the view of somebody who has nothing to do with Imperial Rome.
They don't have family.
Sense. Yeah, they don't have an interest in.
Yeah, well, Narcissus had an interest because he was he was Claudius's main advisor. But yeah, I think that's why Claudius trusted him because he was he didn't have family ties. Yeah, he didn't have anybody that he felt loyalty to besides Claudius. And I think Messalina and Narcissus saw each other as people in a similar situation. Claudius being emperor significantly improved both of their standings, and they were both really into their new power. Yeah. And so the two start spending time together, planning who they were going to take down next. Allegedly. Though interestingly enough, Narcissus is the only man with a Messalina connection that they don't have any stories about them two sleeping together. So.
So we don't want to get into every person that Messalina and or Narcissus brought down together because there were a lot.
Yes.
In the first 7 years as Emperor, Claudius had a lot of people executed. And a lot of people point to Messalina as having a huge sway on her husband. So he just basically, quote unquote, did whatever she said.
Yeah.
But I'm like, is that real?
I don't buy that because if he just quote unquote did whatever she said, he would have made her Augusta.
Yeah. Claudius is suspicious.
Yes. He's suspicious of the nobility. He's suspicious of his wife. So I don't think he was blindly following what anybody said. But yeah, they call this time of Messalina, basically of her just pointing to people and being like, kill them. And Claudius being like, okay, babe, all right. There's this one story that's so stupid but it sums up how dumb they wanted to paint Claudius and how conniving they wanted to paint Messalina and Narcissus. Okay, so the story goes that Messalina's mom had remarried this guy named Silenus. And Messalina tried to seduce Silenus just because, fuck my stepdad. Why not? Ancient Rome. Everybody's doing it.
His name is Silenus.
Silenus. It kind of looks like silly anus. Yeah.
Silenus.
Silly anus. Yeah. So she's trying to fuck her stepdad, just because she's a nymphomaniac. And he turned her down. So what do you do when you're faced with rejection? Conspire to have them killed. Obviously. So
As one does. So the story goes that Messalina, Narcissus, and Claudius are hanging out, and Messalina was like, hey, I've been having this recurring dream that's just like so crazy.
So crazy.
I dreamed that Silenus, my stepdad, tried to break into the palace and kill Claudius.
And Narcissus was like, girl, shut up. I had the same dream last night.
And Claudius is like, wow, again.
That's suspicious. It's like, well, that's you both had the same dream? I'm gonna keep my eye on that fucking guy. Huh.
Right? So the next morning, Narcissus sent a note to Silenus being like, hey, Claudius wants to see you, kind of, sort of, ASAP.
Urgently get up to the palace.
And even though the sun wasn't up yet, he was like, okay, they just said ASAP, so that means as soon as possible. I wonder what that would be in ancient Rome.
In Latin?
Yeah. Who cares?
As soon as... I don't know.
Silenus, Assicopus, Pedicopus.
Yep, that's it. Nailed it. Absolutely.
So they got down to the fucking palace. And
yes.
when he gets down there and the guards won't let him in, Narcissus rushes in to Claudius and is like, hey, Silenus is fighting with the guards. He tried to break into your room to murder
The dreams have come true. He's here to kill you. And again, this is another, story that's supposed to paint Claudius as like a total idiot, and him just being like, "Oh, okay, y'all both have this dream. What could possibly be your other motive here?" And
that was an excellent Claudius impression.
Thank you. Okay. But so Claudius took this all as proof positive that his wife and his best friend are psychic. And having psychic dreams about murders, he has Silenus executed, leaving Messalina's mom a widow again.
And there are a lot of stories like this, but we choose to tell this one in particular because it does display the bad things that all of the historians had said about Messalina. Because she was messy girl. Yeah. Number one, she was a slutty McSlut face.
Total slut face, yeah.
Likes fucking her stepdad.
Yeah.
That's not cool. Number two, she was constantly scheming.
Mm-hmm.
Number three, that she held some magical sway. We've seen this over and over and over again. How they have a magical sway over this emperor because they're just whatever. And he's also portrayed as an idiot. So you have to see that. And then finally, number four, that if you pissed her off, she was going to get you killed. So, and not like the Scottish kilt.
No, she was going to make sure you were not alive anymore. Who knows if this actually happened? It is a very, very popular story. It's a little too over the top for me to believe every aspect of it, but maybe she did try to fuck her stepdad. I don't know.
Oh, this is so weird. It wasn't just men that Messalina was said to have fucked over hardcore like this. So, two of Claudius's nieces were executed during, Claudius's reign.
Yeah.
Both of these executions are attributed to Messalina because she was jealous of their beauty and they got too much attention. And they weren't French. I don't know why I had a French accent there.
Je ne sais. I struggle to believe this, though, just because. So one of the nieces that Claudius got killed was Julia Livia, and she had been part of the plot to kill Caligula the first time. There were several plots to kill Caligula, but she had been part of the first plot to kill Caligula. So I think that more tracks with Claudius being nervous about the nobility killing him.
This is literally coming in line of why Narcissus is an advisor, is he's like an outsider, no family connections, no family ties. We need to insert the theme song to Family Ties. You know?
We should. Sure.
So let's shift gears into sexy sex gear.
Let's put this shit in sex drive.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is what Messalina is most known for. Claudius would be gone for long stretches, and as we know, Messalina, she's just a hoe for show.
She can't keep it in her. She can't keep it in her toga.
And I did okay. Get it, girl. Like, get it, girl. Whatever. This is Roman culture, and he's cheating on her too. So
he has mistresses. Yeah.
His biggest accomplishment was gaining the control of the islands of Britain, which meant he's got to be gone a lot.
Right. And so the story is that when he was gone, Messalina just turned the royal palace into an orgy. It was just everybody having sex all the time. Non-stop sex party.
I need a free ticket to this.
You need an invitation to the Messalina sex party.
I didn't get the Evite. Shit, I'm 2,000 years too late.
So I thought it would be fun now for us to do some Queen's podcast theater.
Because we are fans of the theater.
We are thespians acting. So this is the famous satire written by Juvenal about Messalina that's so famous. But I would like to start it with that it is part of a epic poem titled "Don't Marry." And just each poem in the satire is about a different woman from history who was horrible. And so Messalina is the slut in the story. So that should tell you everything you need to know. Right, title alone should give you. So, all right, Nathan. So what we're going to do is Nathan's going to take a line from the poem and I'm going to put it in Queen's podcast English.
Sorry, I just took a sip of that nasty ass drink, so I gotta clear my throat.
Clear your palate.
Hear how Claudius suffered. When his wife Messalina knew he was asleep, the empress dared at night to wear the hood of a whore, and she preferred a mat to her bed in the palace.
All right, so what we're hearing here is that she preferred a dirty mattress on the floor in a nearby brothel to her fancy bed in the palace with her husband. And like we said, by the way, Claudius slept around too. And I don't think they were even sharing a bed anymore at this point. So, okay, that's a lot of speculation, Juvenal.
She'd enter a brothel, the stank of old soiled sheets, and make an empty cubicle her own. Then sell herself.
First of all, I love that they call sex workers workspace cubicles. But also, he's painted a picture here, hasn't he? I can smell this place.
Yeah,
it's not good.
Her nipples gilded, naked, taking she-wolf for a name.
She-wolf? We keep seeing that in history. There is Isabella of France. Margaret of Anjou, she was the first she-wolf. I love that for her. Second question. Why are her nipples gold? What is that? What gilded
Valid.
nipples? Was that I'm embarrassed to say that I did Google ancient Rome gilded nipples, and I couldn't find anything about it being a fashion that were they golden plated? Bras, or did she paint
porn sites? You just got a lot of porn sites.
Did she paint her nipples? Did she dip them in some gel? What? I need more information about her gold nipples.
She'd flatter her clients on entry and take their money, then lie there obligingly, delighting in every stroke.
All right, so there's nothing wrong with being sex positive, but I'm sorry, what? We're saying the Empress of the Roman Empire was such a nymphomaniac that she would be into any dude off the streets. Do you know how bad people in history smelled? She and like her dudes that she's actually fucking are the upper crust. So they're actually like taking baths every day. These are like fishermen and blacksmith coming off the street, smelling like they don't know what a bath is. And you think the Roman Empress was just like, give me that fisherman dick? Like, what?
When the pimp dismissed his girls, she'd leave reluctantly. Then she'd leave, exhausted by man, but not yet satisfied.
So the picture we're painting here is that it's closing time at the brothel. They're playing closing time. One more call for out. And she's like, no, guys, let's go to the after party. Everyone's shutting down their cubicle. And Messalina is like, no, I need some stinky Roman men up inside me immediately. Like, what?
A disgusting creature with a filthy face, taking her brothel stench back to the emperor's bed.
Why is her face filthy? Like, what? I don't even want to know. Again, Juvenal can paint a picture. I can smell her going back. Like, that was a beautiful reading, Nathan. Absolutely.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Acting.
I loved the side narrations.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I need a shower, if I'm being honest.
Right. So this was all written like a long time after Messalina's life.
Yeah.
But it does give you the idea of what kind of reputation she had.
Exactly. But we just don't know. But a lot of people have taken it as fact. Like, we don't even know how she would have made her nipples gold. This is just all speculation. But she... But she did have affairs, and so did Claudius. But since she's a woman, she's the one with a bad reputation, and he's the one painted as like, this poor man just waiting for his wife to return to him. Like,
okay, bro, take several seats. Right. But in one of her affairs, she did meet one guy that, in our opinion, was more than just a guy, that she tried to use to get ahead. Yeah. I think she was actually like in love with this guy. So his name was Gaius Silius.
Gaius Silius or Gaius? Gaius Silius?
Gaius. I want it to be Gaius Silius because that's me. That was my name.
He's just a silly little gay. Oh, you are Gaius Silius.
That is my stage name. Everybody, welcome to the stage, Gaius
Silius. And you'll be like, you silly goose, and your nipples will be gold. Silius was closer to her age. He was, I keep thinking he's like 2006 Barack Obama, basically. Okay. He's a senator. He's really popular. He's charismatic. Everybody's like, this guy's got some new and fresh ideas. He was the up and coming. I mean, I guess we could stick with the Kennedy as well. Maybe he's the JFK. I don't know. Anyway, he's just like this up and coming star. And I really do believe that she fell in love with him. And as far as I can tell, that after they met in 47 AD, there was no other man for her.
Yeah. Now, according to sources, Silius didn't like her at the beginning. But he was like, oh, well, better roll with the punches and, do what she wants me to do or else I'll get killed. So he divorced his wife and Messalina started slowly bringing her belongings over to his house, like that, like that couple where they just like start bringing one suitcase at a time, and before you're like, hey, I'm bringing my couch over today. Is that cool?
Yeah, are you okay with that? So I take issue with this description because like they were not discreet about their relationship, and surely if he wasn't like love makes you do dumb things, and like if he wasn't thinking with his heart, like he would have been way more discreet. So I don't know. That's my opinion. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I think it's like either it's like that's just a really dumb move. Just like what?
I think they were drunk in love. Yeah. What do you think? You think that they were actually in love?
I do.
Yeah.
Because there's no other reason why you would do that with the emperor's wife.
Right. Like everyone else was real discreet about it, but they're like out in public, making out at the forum. You know, like just
funny thing happened on the way to the forum.
The Empress was making out with some dude. Yeah, exactly.
Messalina does not want to divorce the emperor, though, for this random dude she's making out with on the funny thing that happened on the way to the forum.
Yes, absolutely.
But she did want to get him in. She's going in.
Oh,
she wanted to get him into the inner circle of advisors.
Yeah, and so her former BFF Narcissus is like, he didn't like that. He loved that Claudius only wanted to surround himself with other freedmen and other people that were kind of like didn't have like such a cush beginning in life. Narcissus saw this as a threat when he was like, you're trying to bring a senator here? Like, look at this guy. He's fucking 2006 Barack Obama. Claudius is never going to listen to me again. What are you doing? You know?
Yeah. And then on top of that, Messalina went after another freedman in Claudius's inner circle. So the story goes that Messalina was sleeping with this other freedman because she just
can't get it. She just can't get enough.
Yeah, and she's with Polybius, and when she got tired of him, she had Claudius just kill him.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm done with your dick head, so off with your real head.
And this is like the messy Messalina part of it. Just off, done with your dick head, off with your real head. Like, yes, 100%. More than likely, it's probably just Polybius got like too big for his britches and like started telling Claudius what to do a little too much. But because history is a bag of dicks, no, Messalina got sick of fucking him, so had him killed. And Narcissus was like, I was fine when we were taking down the rich folks, but now that you want to take down the freedmen and move your rich boyfriend into the palace, they went from friends to enemies real fast. Put a pin in that.
Okay, so detour. Skirt. It's time to talk about Agrippina the Younger. We have like 3 episodes on her, so
we're not going to spend too much time on her, but she is. This part's important. Yeah,
we gotta be brief. But yeah. Agrippina the Younger is Claudius's only surviving niece from his brother Germanicus, because remember, he had like all the nieces executed. They're just killing family members left and right.
Left, right, and center.
So Agrippina the Younger lays real low because you're gonna die, girl. But then
Agrippina the Younger was smart, and so she was like, you know what? We're just gonna sit at home. We're gonna stay at home.
We're gonna watch Netflix.
We're gonna watch the old Netflix.
But then, fast forward to 48 AD, Messalina has been empress for 7 years now. So her son, Britannicus, was also about to be 7. So the Emperor Claudius decides to hold this event called the Secular Games. So it is a huge event.
Huge. Like, I kind of was comparing it to Mardi Gras because like it's just a big party, even though like the actual reason for it is based in religion.
yeah.
Mardi Gras Fat Tuesday. Yeah. But it was just a big party. It was a big fucking deal. The entire country basically comes out to the Secular Games.
And Messalina is the wife of the Empress, so she wants to fucking shine, baby. Shine.
It is my time to shine. Shine bright like a diamond. Yes, absolutely.
Yes. So she and her son and heir, Britannicus, they are looking fabulous, dripping in toga eleganza.
Toga jewels. They show up looking like this is our time for our adoring public to see us.
And rightfully so. They are running the country at this time, expecting to see that people are going to like cheer them and stand up and give them a standing ovation, you know, and get this huge reception. And they got a good reception.
They did. Yeah.
It was not bad. Like, they entered the games and everyone was pretty happy to see them. Yeah.
Yes, woo!
But then shit got real and Beyonce showed up. Beyonce showed up, and Beyonce is Agrippina the Younger, and I guess her son Nero is Blue Ivy. And yes.
The only time we'll ever make that a comparison. But Agrippina and Nero walk in, and the crowd fucking loses their shit in a way that they just did not do for Messalina and Britannicus. Like, they were just so much more excited to see these people. And it was a huge slap in the face to Messalina. And I can just imagine it being like, it got under her fucking skin. She was like, what the fuck?
Oh, I bet so. So was Messalina first and then Agrippina second?
Yeah, Messalina and Britannicus came in first. And
so
then
that's the message on timing. You let the Empress's wife come in as the last.
Yes.
To come in.
But I mean, it would have been just as embarrassing, though, if Agrippina came in and it would have been a huge thing. And then Messalina came in and it wasn't like, it'd be like whatever act had to follow the Beatles and Ed Sullivan.
Yeah,
you know,
they're fucked. Yeah, and Agrippina's lineage is much like, she's related to Paul McCartney. Like,
yes, basically.
And while she's not.
No.
She's Augustus. But while it was ideal, that a son would inherit, it wasn't a given. So if the people preferred Nero to her son Britannicus, Claudius could be swayed to make Nero the heir, not his own son.
Yeah.
And you have to keep in mind that everybody thinks Claudius is slow and idiot and dumb. And so this
Nero's
is
a little bit older too. And maybe you'd say that Nero has a better claim than Britannicus, So yeah, it's it made Messalina very nervous.
Very nervous.
And I think this was this is kind of the beginning of the end for Messalina. Spoiler alert, she is not still around. She is no longer with us. She left those games a desperate woman. And I'm thinking maybe a little bit unhinged, being like, what does this mean for my son? Rewind a little bit back to when Claudius didn't allow her to take the title of Augusta. That would have given her son a little bit more credibility as well. Yeah. If she's got this, like, the highest title that a woman can ever have. But he denied her of that. And now his niece is strolling in and people are obsessed with her. And it's just like, why not me?
Yeah.
Why not me? What has she got that I don't got,
Yeah, I would totally think about that. So she might be thinking at this point, they're going to come for me and my son and kill him and replace us with Nero. Like, that's this whole shady lady politics in Rome. Spoiler alert.
I mean, like we already said, they were not above killing babies. They killed Caligula's daughter, who was like only 2 years old. So that's a real concern. So yeah, I'm just like imagining her leaving that game, just being like, I got to do something desperate. Like, I'm desperate. I got to do something big. Yeah.
So the story goes that after the games, Messalina sent a group of men to execute Nero in his sleep. So Nero, again, we said he's like 2-3 years older than Britannica at the time. So he's like 10 or so. But when the men arrived, they saw a snake slither out of the bed from underneath Nero's bed.
A snake.
Almost
Smaller snake.
So they took that as a bad omen because in Roman culture, seeing a snake was nope.
It was like it was a bad omen from the gods. Yeah.
Nope. And you know what? Bad omen to me in general. If I see a snake, I'm like, nope. Whole lot of nope. That situation, they abandoned it. Yeah.
Yeah.
This story is another one of those tales that we don't know if it actually happened, and if it did, we don't know if Messalina was behind it, but we do know that Nero and Agrippina told everybody about it.
Yeah.
So it could have also been Agrippina making the story up to make her son like this godlike figure because
protected by the gods, and this is the woman that wants to kill him. Yeah. So let's discuss that just for a second. Do you think she was desperate enough to have made a move like this?
No.
You don't think so?
Not. I honestly think Agrippina saw what happened and was like, this is good timing. Like, and was like, I have a good group of people behind me,
Okay.
Germanicus was,
So you think that Agrippina made up the whole story?
I do.
Okay. Okay, heard it here first. Queen's podcast. I don't know. I don't really know how. I think she may have been desperate enough, but yeah, we just don't have enough information to know if it's true or not. But in the eyes of Rome at the time, it did happen. So
yes,
I do think Messalina was starting to lose her shit a little bit. Like I said, she's desperate, and that is the only reason I can kind of try to make myself understand what happened next. I also think a lot of heavy drinking was involved in what happened next because
just two drinks of her cocktail that was Girl, I feel messy.
She had 2 of these cocktails and she was fucked up. I do think she was losing her mind a little bit. I think she was super paranoid and I think she was super drunk. So that being said, let's discuss the final act in the mess that is Messalina.
So her downfall.
Yes.
You remember Silius, right?
I do.
So, it's not Nathan Gaius Silius.
Not Gaius Silius. Gaius Silius.
So him and Messalina have been going strong for a year now. So she'd convinced him, you know what? You should divorce your wife. And she had been slowly moving her couch in, her, refrigerator, her 70-inch TV.
Yeah.
All
her
of
shoes.
her electronics, all her shoes.
Everything. And then one day, so Claudius was out of town and she married Silius? Question mark. I don't understand that. I have tried to read this from every possible angle and I don't understand. Like, why?
I don't understand.
I don't.
So she was still married to Claudius, Emperor of Rome.
Yeah,
and
maybe you've heard of him.
And ancient Rome does not believe in bigamy. This is not normal.
No.
But allegedly, while Claudius was out of town, she and Silius threw a big, lavish wedding over the top But
invited everybody. That was everybody. Why would they do this? Why?
It doesn't make sense.
The math is not mathing. I don't understand. Like,
you are the expert on math too.
I am the mathing expert. We're not the only people in history that have viewed this and just kind of been left a little bit stumped. Like, some scholars do say that Claudius had already signed off on them getting married. So Claudius and Messalina were discussing getting a divorce. And so he'd already given his blessing that once we're divorced, you can marry Silius. That we have no proof of that. That's just a theory. But why wouldn't she have waited?
I know. It doesn't make sense. Or there's another theory that this lavish party was maybe it was just pretend.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were pretending to get married at this huge party. And this is like I
said, they were drunk. They were just drunk as hell.
And maybe this would be fun.
So there is a theory. There's a Roman god, Dionysus, who is the god of wine and also patron god of Queen's podcast. Obviously. And some people speculate that they were actually performing this ritual that a man and woman did together in this Dionysus celebration. And then that game of telephone where somebody whispers something in your ear and by the time it gets to the 10th person, it's something completely different. And so that the rumors just started spreading. And by the time it got to Claudius, they got married. So that is the only theory that makes any sense to me. But still, you had to have been very drunk to do anything that maybe looked like you were getting married in front of everybody, Yeah.
So Messalina wakes up the next day with a huge hangover, like we did the day after we saw Rocky Horror.
Yep.
And she gets word that Claudius is coming home early, and he thinks, oh shit, you're trying to overthrow me. Molly, you in danger, girl.
Yeah, because Narcissus was looking for something to get Messalina on. And so he is I fucking got it. And he's telling Claudius, this is what she did. She did this because she wants to overthrow you and put Silius as emperor. She's coming for you. And Claudius, who apparently just believes anything he hears, is like, okay, you know.
You have the best Claudius.
Yeah, I'm Claudius.
So Messalina at this point makes a move that reminds me of Anne Boleyn right before her arrest. So she takes her 2 kids, who are like 7 and 8, runs out to meet Claudius in his carriage, and is begging for mercy and, you know, just trying to remind him of how much he loves his children and how she's the mother of his children, so spare her.
Yeah. Anne Boleyn did something very similar with Elizabeth. Yeah, right before she got arrested. But Narcissus sees her coming down the street and is just basically like, Claudius, here's some documents. Look at this scroll and look over there. And like, he doesn't see Messalina, supposedly. And she's a mess.
Yeah, Messalina is a mess. And she runs to the palace, met by the guards, and she's like, get the fuck out of my way. And they're like, nope, sorry. We have orders saying that we can't do this.
Would love to let you in. We can't do it.
She's panicking. And then Narcissus comes down and is like, you have a lot of nerve to show your face around here.
Yeah. And they get into this huge screaming match, but Narcissus came prepared. He's like, I got a list of all your transgressions. You've been sleeping around with every senator in town. You had my friend executed. You had women exiled over your jealousy. You tried to kill Nero. And he's like yelling this in front of like everybody. And it's kind of like starting to form a crowd of people being like, what the hell is going on? And yeah, so she's like, she realizes that she is not going to win this fight with Narcissus. So she gets the fuck out of there. She runs the fuck off. Like,
anxiety.
I can feel her anxiety through time. Like, I'm just imagining her with this pounding headache and just like panicking, like this bad. She ends up at these gardens that she loved. We didn't have time to go into this story about how there were these gardens that she loved, and she had the guy that owned it killed, allegedly, so that she could have them. And so, because there's just so much murder in this story.
Yeah, and then she has a nervous breakdown, and then she sends for her mother, like, you know,
I want my mom
too. Yeah.
And maybe her mom's like, shouldn't try to fuck my husband. I don't know.
Yeah, but Roman bitches are brutal as shit, and we've talked about this before. But her mom's advice was, kill yourself.
Kill yourself. That's the only honorable thing to do at this point. And yeah, her mom's like, look, I'm going to be straight with you. This is bad. This is real bad. The only honorable thing to do is to take your own life.
And like me, Messalina, didn't do it.
I would have been like, Mom, there are so many other options. We could just run away. We could get disguises. We could go back to the brothel. I'm very popular there. I'll just stay there.
In Roman society, her not doing it was seen as being a coward.
Right.
Like, today's standards, we'd be like, what the hell? But back then, that was normal for nobility to be like, all right, I'm no longer in power, gotta kill myself.
Right.
Like, what?
So back at the palace, Claudius is having dinner, and apparently he's just really confused about the situation. And he's like he's making a pros and cons list about like, what do I kill my wife? You know, like, and apparently he's actually leaning more towards, well, she's the mother of my children and everybody makes mistakes, and like is leaning more towards some kind of clemency. And is like, have I been the ideal husband? There's bad on both sides of this relationship. Let me think about this a little bit more.
Yeah, and Narcissus was like, oh, that's a really interesting concept.
Clemency, you say.
BRB.
BRB.
And then he goes and tells the guards, Claudius says to go kill Messalina. And then they do.
They do. They're just like, he probably did. That seems like kind of a logical step in this situation. So Empress Messalina, while in her favorite gardens with her mother, was run down and killed with her mother as a witness by the guards in 48 AD. Immediately after, there was a huge attempt to straight up erase her from history.
I mean, they kind of did.
Like nothing. Like that's probably why we don't have anything written about her until everybody in the story is dead, like, because it was like complete erasure from history. All the statues.
All the scrolls, anything with her name on it, gone. It was done. It was just gotten rid of because you had like Nero right afterwards. And spoiler alert, that wasn't great either.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and Agrippina became such a powerful person right after that. And Agrippina had so many reasons to like erase her from history. So, however, we do know that she existed now. And let's be real, her reputation is horrible, but she was a desperate woman working with what she had in a time that didn't leave a lot of options for women.
So you know what? Let's raise a glass.
Let's raise a glass.
Messy. And this drink was real messy. I got messy. From a girl, Messy Messalina.
Messy Messalina. Cheers, bitches. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. Bye-bye.